Well, hello there. Welcome back to Céillí, the trading game. In this video, we are going to look at how to use sentiment to kind of get information about trades and what might be potential good trades and what might be potential bad trades. In this view here, we have the portfolio history of an alpaca account that is subscribed to the Sentiment Rock strategy. This is the Sentiment Rock strategy. You can see here for the last 30 days that this strategy has only had one negative day. Right here was a negative day on the 25th. Every other day it's gone up. And you can see that it's gone up pretty significantly due to some outstanding results from one stock in particular, AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. And this has a lot to do with, the tariffs and what AI chips are going to be used by whom. So it's affecting the stock. To see how sentiment works, you can go down here and we can go to, well, first we can go to sentiment trades. What this interface shows is the latest stock recommendations based on sentiment. This is for July 15th of 2025, and these stocks, according to my trading algorithm, which uses sentiment, are suggested as buys. But if we go into the charts, sentiment charts, this one is the default chart for Apple. But if we click on this link, we can actually, by going to the address bar, just simply type in AMD, and this will give us the sentiment chart for AMD for the last 5 years, basically. So we have to scroll over to the end here. Now to zoom in, which is where the data, it's hard to see the data in a zoomed out length for this much data. So we have to zoom in, we double click a few times, and we have to keep scrolling over and keep double clicking. And then we double click some more and scroll over. Okay, so now we're here. This is the AMD sentiment chart. This green line is the positive sentiment, the gray line is neutral sentiment, and the red is negative sentiment. Now, we can see here, if we zoom in some more, around July 7th, July 8th, there is a huge swing in sentiment for AMD. And around this time, the system generated a buy signal for AMD, and it kept generating buy signals. Eventually, it bought 81 shares of AMD. And from this point on to this point till where we are today, July 15th, AMD rose 13%, which we can see if we find, sorry, I have on my watch list AMD right here. If we click on detail view, we can see the price chart. Now this is like several years price chart data, but if we go back here and we click on the last 30 days, we can see that around July 7th, right here, the price just starts to skyrocket. The sentiment goes up and the price goes up with it. Eventually what happened was AMD went up 13% on this trade. But here we see around the present moment that we're seeing another crossover in sentiment. What I did, seeing that there was a crossover in sentiment after it went up 13%, I sold just now all 81 shares of AMD. Now, what I wanted to show was there's a way to chart how sentiment works and how it diverges. Here positive sentiment is going up, negative sentiment is plummeting. There's a crossover here. Then there's another crossover, more crossovers. Then eventually you get this long extended growth of 13%, but there's a crossover here which suggests to sell. So what we're looking at is a differential. Now, if we go and look at our sentiment aggregate scores in here, for AMD, we see around July, let's see what the scores are around July 7th. So we're dealing with this date here. The sentiment scores on July 7th, negative is at 0.86, which is really high, and positive is at 0.11, which is pretty low. So then we go over here to July 8th, and we see a switch. We see a switch in the data. The sentiment score goes up positive to 0.91, which is pretty high, and the negative just plummets to 0.07. And what we saw was that from that, the market reacted, and what we saw was a 13% increase in the price of AMD over that trade life, which I just closed right now, right here. So hopefully you can see how you can use sentiment in our system here in your trading game to find good bets, that in your duels you can, find some good stocks and go up against your competitors and pick a fight with them and kick their ass. Alright, so that's how sentiment works, and this is the trading game. Céillí, make sure you trade with your mind, not your emotions.